Through an elaborate network, the Food Bank of Western Massachusetts distributes more than 6 million meals every year to about 108,000 people. That's the equivalent of 1 in 8 people in our region. A sobering thought to know that on any given day there are that many people in Western Mass who must rely on a food site, a pantry, or a meal site to put food on their table. In conjunction with the Food Bank, the Catholic Charities Office of the Diocese of Springfield has recently undertaken a special project to analyze the long-term problem of chronic hunger.
We're finding that so many people have entered into the area of not just needing food for the first time, but needing it on a more consistent basis. In other words, the emergency that brought them to the food pantry in the first place is not being easily resolved.
Catholic Charities has been evaluating the location and numbers of food pantries currently in Western Massachusetts in trying to determine how best to provide emergency food access to people in need.
We're seeing people come more often than ever before, and we're just trying to keep up with that demand.
An emergency situation that has been exacerbated by the economic crisis, says Andrew Morehouse, Food Bank Executive Director.
Lots of people are out of work, quite frankly. They have no source of income. Others are working very hard, often full-time jobs, and still not making ends meet.
Catholic Charities and the Food Bank of Western Massachusetts are partnering to strengthen the emergency food network, as well as to provide other types of services, like food stamps enrollment, nutrition education, and to raise the voice of the voiceless, so they too can be advocates for their own needs, says Morehouse. The Food Bank's role is to provide emergency food assistance today and to prevent hunger today, while at the same time building long-term solutions. The Food Bank of Western Mass has 22 partners in the Diocese of Springfield.
We know that to a large extent, hunger and more broadly food insecurity, not being able to get enough nutritious food to meet your basic needs and be active, are symptoms of poverty and increasingly working poverty.
One of the major issues being addressed is that many families needing food assistance in the suburbs and rural towns would have difficulties getting to the pantries, which often are located in major cities. Last month, a new pantry was opened up in South Hadley. Neighbors Helping Neighbors South Hadley Food Pantry, initiated by the United Methodist Church, has about 40 volunteers from various interfaith denominations and from those who are not involved in churches at all, according to Reverend Louise Dumas.
In South Hadley, for a long time, you had to go to Northampton or to Amherst, to the survival centers, to get food. There was no major food pantry in South Hadley, and so that needed to change.
Ooh, jambalaya, and we've got sweet peas and spaghetti.
Poverty is everywhere, even in towns like South Hadley, where you would not think hunger exists, says Joe Nato, coordinator of St. Teresa's Parish Food Programs.
But those are really good.
We've got over 600 people that are looking for fuel assistance. There's tenants that I know of that just barely scrape by.
Or on the first day we were open, one family said to me, well, we used to go to Northampton, but the gas is too expensive. And so having a food pantry in South Hadley is very important to families in need.
Nato says he has always tried to help out where there is a need.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal to be able to do something for somebody that we know need it and are not necessarily out to ask for help.
We're made up of so many wonderful parishes, and I know that our parishioners wait for things that they can really get their teeth sunk into, ways to truly be effective in helping break the cycle of poverty, and this is one of those ways.
Currently, the new food pantry is open Wednesdays and Saturdays for residents of South Hadley.
At this point, we're not going to turn anyone away. The idea is to feed people who are hungry, and there's no doubt that there's a need in this town. I mean, statistically, I know 6% of the town is under the poverty level. So I mean, that's a chunk of town. So our idea is just to keep growing and to feed as many people as we can.